the Hans-Niemann and Vladimir Kramnik sort of drama is continuing. It first started with a game that they played featuring the Berlin defense, where Hans mercilessly crushed Kramnik. And then the next game they played was a bit of a weird game. It ended in 2 moves, where Kramnik basically blundered checkmate in 2 moves, the fastest checkmate, and Hans resigned instead of giving checkmate. But now they got paired up in a tournament called the AI Cup, and it's very interesting. First of all, Kramnik kind of ranted on his profile, changed it multiple times in the description. Timestamps will be in the video player below, so you can skip ahead to which section you want to see. But first, I'll just take you through the game. Hans with the white pieces starts off with d4. Knight f6, we have a Nimzo Indian. The book moves don't really matter because that's not the interesting part. c5. It's very common to not recapture like this and just to leave these doubled pawns as a weakness for the white pieces. And after some basic developing moves, black can quickly win it back, and white does not bother even defending these pawns. He just would rather get development. And now Kramnik jumps his knight into the center. Knight g5. And then first Kramnik trades on c3, doubling up the c pawns once again for the white pieces. And then he trades on g5. And then he trades on g2. If you're asking why Hans did not take on b7, attacking the rook and attacking the knight, because after the rook can't move here and the rook is literally trapped, it's because after knight h3, king g2, and knight f4, Kramnik can just go rook b8. This king, the g file is open, f pawns are doubled, bishop is under attack and better retreat, and knight could be getting in, queen could be getting in. This isn't what Hans wants to be playing with, so instead he just goes for a simple trade that still leaves Hans with some sort of pressure, with this knight being pinned to the queen. And then some more basic moves. I don't want to go through the games too much. f3 is a very important move to restrict this knight movement to the e4 and g4 squares. The real brilliancy comes in the endgame. The players haven't traded off just yet. So rook fc8. There's really no way you can protect the c4 pawn except capturing on d5. Kramnik recaptures with a knight, attacking the c3 pawn, and you'll notice that there are 3 attackers and no defenders. Nobody can defend the c pawn except itself. If you don't understand that, it's because it can push. Now the knight moves back, a trade on e7, and Hans doubles up on the d file. And now he proposes a trade, gets his rook to the 7th rank. Kramnik rejects. He decides to protect his king, provides some luft on the g7 square by pushing to g6. Some play on the king side with the h pawns. Then queen a3 is a very nice move, actually. It's trying to go to e7. Now Kramnik goes trade on d7 and queen c6, forking the rook and the pawn. The only way to protect the rook and the pawn at the same time is by creating a counterattack with queen e7, protecting the rook and threatening checkmate in 2 if black just takes the pawn. Then queen f7 and queen h7 is checkmate. The only move to protect that is rook f8, and then Hans decides to gobble the pawns and some relatively normal moves. I don't think I should go into them too much. Now we are in the rook endgame, which is going to be where the brilliancy lies. So the game is drawn. The players could agree for a draw, but at this point, you notice that Kramnik's b pawn is very dangerous. Even though Hans is up a pawn, this b pawn is, there's no way to stop it unless you move your rook over here and leave this g pawn defenseless, which is exactly what Hans has to do. But Hans makes a mistake with king f4, because now you find the move that just wins for the black pieces, and no, it's not moving the king. I mean the rook. It is moving the king. It's with king c5. If you take this rook, then black takes your rook and this b pawn cannot be stopped. And if you move your rook back, creating the threat, now where does the rook go? Well, now it gives you a check. And now if your king moves, now it can go to b4. And you see what's happening here? This rook is protecting this b pawn, and now the b pawn will be pushed to b1, and there's nothing white can do to stop it. If white trades, this b pawn is unstoppable. If white decides to move, guess who's stopping this pawn? Absolutely nobody. Unfortunately for Kramnik, he missed that idea and instead went with rook g4. He only has a minute on the clock. Mistakes are bound to happen, and you'll see later that it does happen. Now you'll see that Han's e-pawn is quite dangerous. So there are two passed pawns for the pieces. Black is up a pawn temporarily. It won't last long, that advantage. But Kramnik has 5 seconds, and Hans has 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So you kind of see where this game is going. e7. Okay, pretty explanatory move. But now, Kramnik, with 5 seconds on the clock, makes a mistake. h4. This allows the brilliant sacrifice by Hans Niemann. Takes him 1 second to find this move. Rook takes b3. If the rook takes, of course, this will become a queen, and white will be completely winning. And you just can't stop it. Now, white will quickly gobble up this pawn. If the rook moves back, white can just go rook f3 and go like this, and white's just winning. Just played rook e1 and resigned in an instant. And here is where things get interesting. So we're at Kramnik's player profile, and his description still remains the same, despising cheaters. And now he's gone on to a different rant, which was different from another video I made before. It says, I'm not going to say, but basically he's saying that I'm going to stop playing on chess.com because apparently there are too many cheaters there. And he ends it with, the strength isn't the truth. He did misspell strength, but it's not really the point of today's video. And then Hans made a response.
Здравствуйте, Kramnik. I just first of all want to say that I'm a huge fan of your chess, and I've been following your career, and you've been someone that I've looked up to for a very long time. I saw your recent videos, and I thought that perhaps a resolution to that would be to have an in-person training camp where you'd be able to evaluate my chess on a deeper level, and I'd be happy to do whatever you'd like, play games, look at positions, and you could get a more nuanced understanding of my interesting style that you have talked about extensively. So please let me know. I'd be, anytime I'm not playing a tournament, I could do it anytime, anywhere. Completely up to you, and of course I could compensate you for your time as well, as I would expect for any coaching that you would do. So please consider it. You can reach out to me anywhere, and I hope this is an interesting proposition for you. Здравствуйте, Kramnik.
Yep, so that's a pretty nice response to somebody who basically accused you of cheating. But that's basically what's been going on in the chess world.